Hi there, Mike from Greenway. Well, today I wanted to go over a few top tips for you to get the most enjoyment out of your electric vehicle during the winter time. Here we go. Tip number one. What I think you should do always is precondition your vehicle before you start driving in the morning. And so just to explain what that is, all or most of the electric vehicles will have a feature where you can program it, or you can use your app or the fob to preheat the vehicle in the morning before you leave for your daily chores and errands or go to work. Many of the vehicles will also allow you to program a schedule into the vehicle. So for example, if you leave for work at 8 o'clock every day, Monday through Friday, you can program it to preheat the vehicle before you get into it. There's two advantages to this. One is your own personal comfort. You'll be jumping into a car that's already preheated. But secondarily, and maybe more important, is you'll be getting into a car with a fully charged battery, or almost fully charged battery, and the power the car used to heat it up came from the wall plug instead of the battery. So generally you'll start out with a full battery or almost full battery before you start your daily chores, daily journey. The second top tip I have is that you should always use your heated steering wheel and your heated seats if you have them available. Those are not very power hungry. They use very little battery power. The heated steering wheel uses very little wattage, something like 75 watts or something, very tiny amount. And also your heated seats probably only uses 1 or 200 watts, depending on vehicle, it's all different. But your heater for the cabin, your cabin heater can use as much as 6,000 watts. So if you want to warm yourself up and not use very much electricity, use your heated seats and heated steering wheel in combination with your climate control settings as well. That also means you might be able to set your climate control a little bit cooler, so you don't have to have the air temperature as hot. Heating up air and heating up the whole cabin is going to be using a lot more power than just running your heated steering wheel and heated seats. Third item is many vehicles may have an eco mode or a power saving mode, and those are good if you are trying to extract as much range as possible out of your vehicle. Now, if you have lots of battery power and you have lots and lots of miles and kilometers left, you might not bother using the eco mode. But if you're trying to eke out every mile or every kilometer out of your battery, there's an eco mode often on many of the cars. What it's going to do is, one, encourage you to be less aggressive with the throttle. It's also going to increase your regenerative braking power as well. And third, it may reduce moderately the climate control usage of power as well. So it might reduce how much power it's putting out to the climate control. Fourth item is, like any vehicle, whether it's gas or electric, is make sure your tires are pumped up to the right level. I know this is something that I sometimes forget to do in fall time. And when it goes down to really cold temperatures, you can get that little warning light that'll show up on your dash showing you that you have low pressure in your tires. And that just happens automatically when it's colder outside. The pressure in your tires will decrease. So before it gets too cold outside, maybe pump them up a few extra pounds or PSI. And then you'll be able to withstand the colder temperatures. You want to make sure your tires don't get deflated too much, because otherwise they could go flat, and you want to make sure to have enough pressure in them for when it does dip down to the cold temperatures. And the worst thing is trying to fill your tire up when it's a super cold day outside. I usually try to pick a nice fall day, pump up the tires so they're ready for winter. Next item is also applicable to gas cars or electric cars, is I often will choose to use winter tires on my car, and you'll get better traction. The compound of those tires are more suited for the cold temperatures. They're softer, and they'll be a lot better at gripping the snow or ice or whatever it is you're dealing with. The all-season tires can work as well, but those typically tend to be more designed for higher mileage, which also means the rubber compound is harder, and it works well in summer temperatures. But once you hit the winter, then those tires can really become rock hard, and that also will decrease the amount of traction you have with them. So winter tires are often a very good choice, especially if you're in a climate like I am, where it's winter about half the year. Next item for improving your experience with your EV in the winter is before you start off in your vehicle, brush all the snow off of it and scrape those windows, get all that ice off of it. A couple of reasons why, of course, visibility is really important for all your windows, but on top of it as well, you know, if you leave all the rest of the snow all over the vehicle, on the hood or on the trunk or on the roof, that's going to reduce your ability, you know, it's going to cause more wind resistance. It's also probably going to cause a visibility problem for the person driving behind you when all the snow blows off your car onto his windshield. And so it's just a better way to start your car out is brush all the snow off of it and scrape those windows beforehand. Next item is to avoid carrying unnecessary stuff in your car. If you've got that, I don't know, bag of dog food that's been riding around in there for 3 months, you might want to just take that out. I mean, it just takes extra power to pull that extra weight around, you know, unload your car and leave that stuff at home. Just keep the essentials in the vehicle, and that's going to allow you to accelerate more quickly, brake more quickly, and it's also just going to take less power overall. Another good tip in the winter is to keep your speed in check. You want to make sure that you're not you know, speeding on the highway or on the road. Your stopping distance is going to be decreased somewhat based on the slipperiness of the ice or snow that's underneath your tires. So often, you know, if you're traveling at the speed limit in the winter, that may be too fast, and I realize you're still within the speed limit, so that's legal, but it may not be the smartest thing to do. So often I'll travel 10 or 20% below the speed limit depending on the weather and wind conditions. And in extreme conditions, you know, I'll be only going half the speed depending on how bad the snow is and the ice. You want to make sure to keep your speed down for safety of you and those around you. Another item to and help enjoy your EV experience in the winter is if you can possibly park your car inside, indoors, whether it's heated or unheated. That's going to likely improve your experience with the car. The warmer the battery is, the happier the car is, and that just simply means you'll be able to extract more power out of your battery when it's warm. Now, many or most of the vehicles do have battery heaters built into them, so it keeps it above some minimum temperature, and often that's around -20 Celsius or -4 Fahrenheit or lower even. So it's only switches on in really, really cold temperatures. Some cars also have a preheat feature. If you're going to be do some rapid charging or supercharging, level 3 charging, you can preheat the battery so that it can recharge faster. And different cars will operate different ways. So some of them you can manually turn that on. Some of them you have to navigate to the supercharger or to the level 3 charger. And some of them don't have that feature at all. So it's going to depend on the different vehicles. But in all cases, though, a warmer battery does allow you to extract more power out of it, both in a short term in terms of immediate power, and then long term in terms of, you know, how many miles or kilometers you'll get out of it on that particular charge. So my suggestion is if you can park the car inside, great. If you can't, they still work fine. They'll still operate when they're parked outside, and the battery heater will operate when it needs to. But I mean, really, if you've parked indoors versus outdoors, even with a gas car, I'm sure you felt a difference just based on the car being parked inside or outside. If it's outside with a strong cold wind blowing on it all night versus if it's inside not having any wind at all, and even if the temperature is the same, it's still the car that was indoors is going to be able to work easier. It just means it doesn't cool off as rapidly. It's not as cold. You don't have, you know, all that snow packed into all the different nooks and crannies in the car, and it's going to work better. Another thing I like to do in the winter is charge my car as slow as possible. And the reason I do that is, you know, when you're driving the car or when you're charging the car, just by doing that, you are introducing some heat into the battery. And so there's different levels of charging you can have at home. You can do 240 volts at all kinds of different amperages. You can do a level 1 or 120 volts, again at different amps. And you may not have a charger that can set different amperages, but you know, what I try to do is sort of guesstimate how long I think it's going to take to recharge my car, and then pick the charge speed to be, you know, just enough to get me recharged by the time I'm ready to leave. So what's happening there is, let's say I plugged it into a fast charger, a level 2, and I'm recharging at say 40 amps, and it gets fully recharged in less than 2 hours. But I'm not leaving for work, so let's say I get home at 7 p.m. and I'm not leaving till 7 a.m. the next day for work. Well, then there's 10 hours where the car is sitting there fully charged and not being recharged. So first of all, it's not great to leave your car fully charged for hours and days at a time, and 10 hours is not a big deal, but every day for 10 hours is different. But during that 10 hours, unless the car has an active battery heating system that's running, which it's likely not doing that because it's not getting down to those super low temperatures, it's going to allow the battery to cool off overnight. Conversely, if you plug in at a low speed, for example, you do 120 volts, then you do it 12 amps or 10 amps or 8 amps. Some chargers have the ability to allow you to choose which amperage you're doing. It's going to take much longer to charge. It might take 10 hours to charge the same amount that only took you 2 hours on your fast charger, but it's going to be recharging the battery for a longer period of time, and that all by itself is, I can't say is heating the battery, but it is more likely to keep it a little bit warmer. And I haven't run a scientific test on that, but I do find that when I charge it slower, the battery tends to stay a little bit warmer overnight. Now, if you're leaving the car for a few days, it doesn't really matter how fast you charge, because it's not going to take more than say 10 or 12 hours to charge, and then the next 2 or 3 days it's just going to cool off anyway. But if you're using your car on a daily basis, that's the kind of thought process I go through when I'm recharging it. Maybe I'll do a separate video on that. But anyway, yeah, because there's lots of chargers out there, and the stock charger that comes with the vehicle usually does not allow you to choose what amperage you're charging at. Sometimes the car allows you to do that, but in any case, maybe that's another video. So anyway, those are some of my ideas and hints for you when you're operating your electric vehicle in the winter. Maybe you've got some ideas and hints that you want to share with everyone. If you want to leave that in the comment section below, I'd appreciate it. If you found the video interesting or informative, I'd appreciate a thumbs up, and also consider subscribing for future videos. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.